Alright, hey, Crack here. And so this video is going to be an excerpt from a live stream I did on Sunday during my Sunday cartoon show I do on Rumble and Pilled and DLive. And I'm uploading it as a separate video on YouTube and some other places. It is a roll-up of my experience at the Great Ohio Toy Show with lots of pictures of different items that caught my eye, and a roll-up of my haul. And it was a good show. It gets better every time. It's the third one I've been to, and I met Scuba Pete, who is a comrade in toy collecting that I know from the Retro Blasting channel on YouTube. So that was really cool to get to meet him, and it's a good, like I said, the toy show is a good time. I scored some stuff for myself and for a friend. And I got some stuff for my kids. Even though they're all grown, they still like cool stuff too. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into the show. All right, now we are taking a break from the cartoons for about the next 20 minutes. And we're going to go over the Great Ohio Toy Show, which was held at the Greene County Fairgrounds in Xenia, Ohio. I don't live very far from there, so it's pretty easy travel. 8 buildings filled with all kinds of toys, mostly vintage, but a few modern things too. But it was a good time. I mean, it's an event. I mean, thousands of people show up, thousands and thousands. There's food trucks, there's a DJ playing music. I mean, it's an event, man. It starts at 8 a.m. and it goes till 5 p.m. And they even have a special access thing the night before for people who want to pay extra. So it's like it's quite the event. It's pretty much the biggest toy show in the country. And if you like, that kind of thing, it's well worth making the trip. Especially if all you gotta do is like come one state over or something. It's worthwhile. So we're gonna let me get on with it. I just made this video earlier, and I'll pause it where I deem it necessary to pause. I'm not gonna necessarily talk about every image at length. So, but anyway, let's go. I took some footage of the inside of some of the buildings. This is just a small portion. Like what I'm showing you here in these little panoramic views is just a small portion. Alright, here's the first thing in the first building I went into, I saw this thing, this karate. I didn't even know they made toys for a Karate Kid back then, By the time that movie came out, I was like not buying toys and stuff pretty much anymore. I was getting towards the later years of high school, so I didn't know about this stuff, and it really wasn't my thing, but it's pretty cool. And it had a whole bunch of action figures to go with it too. Whoever knew that there was a Karate Kid attack alley and training center? And we watched so much GoBots. How could I not take a picture of this GoBot? And this thing, this Thunder Van remote control vehicle, I got one of these for Christmas in Christmas of 1980. Me and my friends went. I was living in Southern California at the time, and we all three of us got a remote control vehicle that year for Christmas. And matter of fact, we had Christmas morning over at their house. My mom brought our stuff over to their house, and we had Christmas morning with them, and they lived in a cul-de-sac, so it was great. So after we unwrapped all our presents, we all put our batteries in our remote control vehicles, and went out in the cul-de-sac and ran the batteries out of our vehicles and all got sunburns on Christmas Day because it was Southern California and it was 80 degrees on Christmas Day. I had this basketball when I was a teenager. I was, really a big Lakers fan and stuff, and I remember getting a ball like this, a rubber outdoor basketball. I've never seen this Flintstones toy before, so that was cool getting to see that. It's from Woolworths. And this was pretty cool. I've been keeping an eye out on Barbie stuff from my friend Nadja Fox. She's a Barbie collector. But this is like an early 1960s Barbie, one of the old school ones, and as poor a condition as it the doll was in good shape, but the costume was shot. You can see there's a tear in the swimsuit, and when the elastic was just gone. When you tried to stand, this is the doll laying down. When you tried to stand it up, the swimsuit would fall off and her tatas would show. But I thought it was pretty cool though. It was like one of the early days of the toy. Actually looks better than the newer versions. And when they did the Barbie movie a couple years back, they actually put this costume in the movie on the main character. Oh yeah, this, even as low a condition it was in, this particular Barbie doll was $270. I did not buy it, needless to say. And oh no, look, Laura Loomer was there at the toy show. This Cobra Commander glass, I feel like if you drank from it, you might start ranting and raving at Destro about weather machines and such. This is cool. So the other day when I was downloading vintage commercials to show on the streams, I saw the commercial for this Kenner Superpowers Dark Side Destroyer, and then I see the toy right here at the toy show in the box. So it's like pretty cool. Pretty cool. And one thing that always gets me at these toy shows is the great artwork on all these old lunch boxes like this. Oh, girder and panel. Yeah, here we go. Man, I didn't have girder and panel as a kid, but my best friends, Lowell and Greg, did. And they had a few sets of these things. And man, we got a lot of playtime out of the girder and panels. We used them with our Hot Wheels, with our Plastic Army Men, with giant Godzilla toys and stuff. I mean, we even found a way to use them with Star Wars figures and stuff. The girder and panel was a great toy. I bought some older ones, some used ones for my kids when they were little too, so they could have a chance to play with such a great toy. It really was a good construction toy. You had to put your thinking cap on to use this toy. Oh man, another thing that was the a signature toy of the 70s and early 80s, for boys at least, was slot car tracks. Man, I love these things back in the day. I remember even once too, when I was in the Marines, and I was like 20 or whatever. And my friends Lowell and Greg, they still lived in that area. They were grown too, like that. We all went dibs on, and we bought a slot car set that that we would just hang out and frickin' still here we are 20 years old still playing slot cars. It was fun. Yeah, Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea. Ah, what a great show. And look at the artwork. The Beatles. My friend Dot, she likes the Beatles a lot, so I took that picture for her. And these old G.I. Joe sets are fantastic. The artwork on the box. I mean, oh, this toy here. Oh my god, I almost bought this. I almost bought the Micronauts Battle Cruiser. It was great. When I opened the box up, all the little parts that had come with it, they were still on the little trees inside of it. This had never been like assembled. It just stayed in the box. And you know, as $100 for a vintage, you know, toy like that, I mean, I'm thinking maybe I should have got it, but it's a cool toy. But it's like I didn't want to, you know, mess with it. I didn't want to, you know, I didn't want to take it apart and take everything off the trees. And I'm not the kind of collector that generally that will, you know, not open things. I like to collect toys loose and assembled. So yeah, I left it alone. And the Batcave from Mego, from those 1970s 8-inch Mego action figures. And we got King Kong, color forms. I think 150 is a bit much there, but yeah, I remember color forms. They were freaking great toys. And they had this crazy Herman Munster hot rod out in the middle of the freaking floor for some reason. I don't know. I've never seen that at the toy show before, but it was cool. And another Dark Side Destroyer, and this time the Secret Wars Tower of Doom. Classic Star Wars item here. Box is beat up, but you know, such great box art on these old Star Wars toys. I already have an at. And that Donnie and Marie. Oh my god. Yeah, so in the 70s, yeah, we all watched Donnie and Marie in the 70s, whether we wanted to or not, because our parents were watching Donnie and Marie. And back in the 70s, you know, the house usually only had one TV. It was large, it was wooden, and it was in the living room. And what your parents watched, you watched. And so I watched some Donnie and Marie. And I think all those of you who are in the right age group did too. But yeah, all those memories came flooding back when I saw this thing. Yeah, look, I love old action figure and car tote cases, and I'd never seen this one before from Sears. And check this out from I've never seen one of these before. I have I've been through a few Tonka. I had a bunch of Tonka trucks and stuff when I was a kid. This Tonka ambulance, I'd never seen this before. Kind of reminds me of the ambulance from Cannonball Run, now that I think about it. But yeah, I do have a Tonka vehicle right now. It's a Winnebago. Yeah, I've had a few of the Tonka, you know, construction vehicles and whatnot over the years. I made sure I got my kids the older style Tonka ones that were, you know, all made of metal, you know, when they were playing with these things when they were kids. And so I ended up getting theirs. I ended up getting from like thrift shops and stuff, because like by the time my kids were kids, and they're in their 20s now, but even by that time, the Tonkas that were available were like mostly plastic. You know, fuck that shit. I want that shit to be as much fucking steel as possible. But yeah, there we go. Yeah, this was pretty cool. Oh yeah, these old Star Trek toys from the 70s, man, they're great. Prices are high as fuck now for, you know, a boxed sample, but yeah, great box art. This Monster Lab, this looks cool. And look at this great old. They don't make toy gun things like this anymore. It's got some kind of magnet thing going on with the gun. I guess when you pull the trigger, something happens, and it's supposed to hit the targets, and they spin. I mean, I didn't even know they had toys for Dragnet. I've watched plenty of old Dragnet reruns, of course, over the years, but yeah, any toy and promotional advertising with that stuff, it's gone. I guess probably on YouTube I could probably find some commercials for some of these toys, but yeah, who knew? Who knew? This was pretty cool. I saw this. The packaging artwork is really good. It's a really good rendering of Farrah Fawcett. So yeah, that was a whole separate line, of course, for the Charlie's Angels things. They had a big house too. That big beach house that they had in the show. There's a toy of that's for these dolls. These dolls are like, I don't know. They're not 12-inch scale dolls like the Barbies. They're a bit shorter. They're like 9 inches tall or something. Yeah, that is to say the beach house play set is freaking ginormous. They have one at one of the vintage toy stores that is near me. It's pretty cool. And more lunchbox action. And here's the Rookies. I remember this TV show from the 70s. I hadn't realized there was merch for it. Yeah, jigsaw puzzle, some rack toys. These kind of rack toy police play sets. I mean, they had it's the same thing in 16 different brands back then. Oh yeah, I remember this lunchbox when I was a kid. Some kids had this emergency lunchbox. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Yeah, and then here's that 90s action figure. Look at the difference between a 90s figure and the older stuff. Oh yeah, these old board games always get me too. I'm always drawn to them and want to buy them all, but I control myself. Planet of the Apes. Incredible Hulk board game. Big Jim. Got some Big Jim action figures. Well, here's a case to carry them in. Or all of your accessories and stuff. Big Jim had a lot. And check this thing out. Freaking 1/6 scale 1966 Batmobile. This thing was huge. The box was just... See, it takes up a whole table. Just with, that one item. Fucking crazy. Yeah, I love these old Mattel items, type stuff. This looks like it should have been a G.I. Joe toy. Rom the Space Knight. I can't remember what the price was on this. I think it was this thing was I think I took the Post-it note and put it to the side so I could get a clear picture of it. And it was like $1,500 or some stupid price like that. It's ridiculous. Yeah, the Big Jim Kung Fu Studio. That's a great playset. Flash Gordon. Alright, so the Flash Gordon show that we're going to watch later in this stream, and that we've been doing it every weekend for the last several weekends. There's that show was a year or two before the Flash Gordon movie that we all know. And there was a Flash Gordon toy line that came out, mostly 3 3/4 action figures, and people get confused because the action figures don't look anything like the characters in the movie, and that's because the action figures line was based on the cartoon show, not the movie. And this inflatable rocket ship, which has a little plastic area up on the top there, where the action figure, it was designed for the plate used with the action figures. It was like vinyl, and it was inflatable, and it just had a couple of plastic parts on there, and you have a rocket ship for your Flash Gordon figures. And yes, that is $700 you see on that post-it note. Oof. Yeah, and one of the things I was on the hunt for was the Shogun Warriors Godzilla here, like 2.5 feet tall thing. I didn't get this one. This particular one was with the box, and it looks like it still has the packaging insert there for the launchable fist. And look how clean and crisp the paint is too. This one was like $650. I was like, nah. No, I'm not getting that one. Once again, another one of these cool car cases. Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea board game. And that's a great show too. I need to start streaming those episodes again. It's been a year and a half or so. And almost got this for Nadja Fox, but I passed up on it. But I took a picture of it. The horse toy. One thing they did really well in the 70s was horse toys. For the various dolls and action figures and stuff. Sometimes you see where they reused them across brands, though. That was funny. Yeah, here's another big gym vehicle. The Beast. Big old camper truck. And go bots. Yeah. And more cool vintage Star Wars box art. Some Micronauts too. Almost got that, but I passed up on it. And Star Wars Play-Doh sets. Now, I was familiar with the original Star Wars Play-Doh set. I had one when I was a kid. Needless to say, the Play-Doh goes away, and all I had, that little X-Wing Play-Doh, like minimized X-Wing fighter that you see in the background. I kept that toy forever because you can make an action figure sit in the thing, and so I just like pretended it was like a little airspeeder, a little Rebel airspeeder thing. So I could put an action figure in the back and in the front too, and just like play with it. But yeah, that Play-Doh doesn't last; it dries and cracks and all that jazz. But yeah, but in addition to the one for the first movie, I didn't know this until yesterday when I saw them. They had these sets for Return of the Jedi and Empire Strikes Back too. The Jabba the Hutt set. The vehicle is the little skiff thing, and the Empire Strikes Back one. And that snowspeeder looks pretty cool. I might try to hunt down the snowspeeder. Kiss Colorform set. And another really cool freaking slot car set. Tycho is the king of slot cars. Oh yeah. Kenner Superpowers Hall of Justice. What a great set. G.I. Joe, man, they had such great packaging. Somebody had an assembled USS Flag there at the show. It was insane. And then somebody else had that boxed one. Like Rodan. I never knew this toy existed. $3,500. Woo! The Godzilla game. Yep. Yeah, and here's another Godzilla that was, this one was $450 loose, complete. More G.I. Joe goodness here. Such great art on these boxes. I never had that Skyjet. I never wanted it. I didn't have the hovercraft either. Now this is one I had when I was a kid. And I had it for a long time. It was still working when my kids were kids. I let them play with it. Yeah, the Dragonfly helicopter, pretty cool. Had a functioning winch, and it had a little button on the side. You can make the rotors go around, and they went that around pretty quick. It had lots of cool accessories, and it was loaded with weapons. Loaded with weapons. It had, you know, machine guns, a Gatling gun, a grenade launcher, missiles, bombs, rockets. I mean, great shit. Great shit. Yeah, a properly named Boba Fett's Slave One. These days, when they make versions of the ship, the current version, the current way they do it is they just call it Boba Fett's ship instead of calling it Slave One, because it might offend somebody using the word slave. Let's get out of here. Rambo. And the Monster Lab again. I don't know why there's two pictures of it in here. Lost in Space. And check this out. He-Man Masters. I'm not even sure what this toy is supposed to be. I didn't look in the box. It's $300. But I was just getting the box art. You know, and it's in Spanish. It's like, you know, He-Man Espanol. From some company called Falomir Juegos. I thought the packaging, the packaging art was pretty cool for these Archies. It's pretty neat. Oh yeah, here we go, man. This is a remote control car I would have loved to have as a kid. I watched this show all the time when I was a kid. Starsky and Hutch. Frickin' the red tomato with the white stripe. And Planet of the Apes lunchbox. This one had great freaking art on two sides. This is from the TV show. I need to dig these episodes up from the live action show. And check this old Pac-Man toy out. I remember playing with some of these at friends' houses and stuff. These were pretty cool, man. Pac-Man was, I mean, if you didn't live in the time, you got like, when Pac-Man burst onto the scene, it was huge. It was, I mean, everything was Pac-Man. There was a song on the radio that was called Pac-Man Fever. It was, I mean, the Pac-Man mania was insane. Underoos, yeah, that was a thing. Oh my god. And I guess I had, this one's for girls. Hadn't even realized they had underoos for girls. So here's some Ninja Turtles action. That was after my time. And then we got some Close Encounters of the Third Kind. This movie, like, although it's famous in its own right and it was pretty good, it just kind of like got lost in the sauce because of Star Wars. Wow. And now the pickups. Yeah, things. We're going to start with stuff I got for other people, and then we'll get into my stuff. So first off, I picked up some Barbie stuff for Nadja Fox. She's a Barbie collector, so this Dream Vet was a really good price, and so couldn't pass it up. It's a pretty cool toy. And think about it, like, you know, if it had been in other colors, it would have been great for, you know, your G.I. Joes or whatever. And I picked her up the Czechoslovakian Barbie. That's not even a country anymore. It's the Czech Republic and the Slovak Republic now. They're two separate countries. Kind of collectible. I got it for a really good price. And got her the soccer Barbie, Mia Hamm World Cup 1999. And these came from Route 68 Toys a couple days before the show. Route 68 Toys in Xenia, Ohio is actually the organizers and sponsors of the Great Ohio Toy Show. They have two great shops in Xenia, Ohio. One is just their stuff, and the other is called the Route 68 Toy Mall, and they have lots of glass cases in there that have items from other toy vendors that rent the space. So yeah, this one I was calling the European Tour White Power Barbie collection here. We got, you know, the Norway, German, Russian, French, and Dutch. And then when I was in the toy shop and I was on the phone with Nadja Fox, and I was like doing voice to text. And I was like, yeah, these are the White Power Barbies. The proprietor of the store overheard me and started cracking up. And this Jadzia Dax Star Trek crossover episode doll I got from my daughter Lynn. She loves this character, and you know that episode in particular. And so, you know, I saw that and I was like, oh my god, that's perfect. So I picked that up for my daughter, and I showed her the picture, and she's like, yes. All right, so there we go, and picked up some stuff for my son too. He likes horror things, so I got this cool old creepy horror magazine, and he also likes Spider-Man and Batman. So this is a Dark Knight Returns Batman glass and a Spider-Man baseball. And now we're getting into my stuff. Alright, first thing I got, oh my god, was this stuff. Now, these Han Solo novels, these came out in the late 70s and early 80s by Brian Daley, who's been deceased for quite some time. These were like, this and Splinter of the Mind's Eye were the original expanded universe novels for Star Wars. And I still have my original paperback copies from back then, and they are beat the hell up because I read them and reread them and then read them again in adulthood. But when I at the show yesterday for a really great price for all three, Um, I couldn't pass this deal up. They look so good. They just pop. You know, considering how old these books are, these are like 1979 to 1980 time frame is when these books came out. So I just could not resist getting all three of these, and you know they really pop. You know, and at some point I'm going to put them in a proper display case at home instead of just like on a bookshelf, just because they, you know, they just pop so much. There's each one individually coming up. This thing, man, I couldn't pass this up. Someone got this vendor. It was like $20 or whatever. It's this old Star Wars Empire Strikes Back blanket, and I picked that sucker up. Check out that cool Boba Fett on it, and notice his color scheme is like on the action figure. And when you look at other, I didn't get pictures of the whole thing, but the Han Solo in it is wearing the black, the white shirt with the black vest like he was in the first movie and stuff, and Lando isn't even in it. So whoever did the artwork on this for this blanket was working off of the Boba Fett action figure release, which was 1979, a year before the movie, and this stuff from the first movie. So they got the proper Empire Strikes Back logo on the blanket, but you know, you can tell they reused that Darth Vader image from merchandise from you know, the first movie, and then they added this Boba Fett in there, you know, which, you know, is just cool. But it's like the color scheme is very similar to the action figure and not very similar to the movie. So I thought, you know, this is pretty cool, you know, and I like the fact that it does not have Lando on it. Yes, and oh yes, this works. I scored a touchdown last night. It's a little hard to get in the dang thing to work, and the buttons aren't as responsive as they used to be, but the electronic football does work. And one thing I've been collecting, you know, somewhat over the past year, a little bit, just a little tidbits of it, is these old Play School sets. I just find them charming. You know, I mean, they don't make toys like this anymore that are this good. And at $100 for this whole giant ass playset, complete with box, I could not pass it up. And I've been wanting to get the airplane for a while, and I thought it was, you know, I thought it was like a single thing and not part of a playset, but it is part of a playset. It's got this whole airport deal. You know, the helicopter, cars, baggage carts. I mean, pretty cool. And there's the other side of the box. And I got this later on the show. If I had seen this first, I wouldn't have even picked up the whole airport, because, you know, it's just the jet. You know, I was like, yeah, I would have preferred just to get the jet. And I might not bother taking the full airport playset out of the box. I might just take it to one of my local vintage toy stores and trade it in on something else. But yeah, I'm definitely keeping the jet. You know, because, you know, that was like the primary thing I wanted, was the jet. And I picked this up. It's not Fisher Price Little People. These are made by Play School, this set. But I fondly remember this McDonald's playset when I was a kid. One of my friends had this, and much fun was had with it. And even like as we got into like Star Wars figures and stuff like that, we still used it with them. I mean, even though the scale was a bit off, we were like, I'm like, fuck it, Luke Skywalker and Princess Leia going to McDonald's, damn it. So yeah, this set is almost complete. I picked this up the other day at Route 68 Toys, who's, like I said, the toy show sponsor. Pretty cool. I just dig it. It's a vibe. And another Fisher Price car. I don't know, I just like, I like that color scheme, I'll get that one. Add it to the stuff. And these toys I picked up all loose. I got a GoBot there, and never had GoBots as a kid. By the time that show came out, I was like not getting that kind of thing anymore. Matter of fact, I never watched the show when I was a kid. I've only been watching GoBots since I've been doing these streams. But yeah, so you know what? I think and he was only $5, so I was like, what the heck? I'm gonna get a GoBot. I got the Micronauts Pharoid sarcophagus. It doesn't have the action figure in it, but I don't really like the action figure that comes inside these Pharoid sarcophaguses from Micronauts. But I do like the sarcophagus, so I picked it up. It was a good, nice, cheap price. And I'd never seen an orange one before. Usually they're red and blue. So I picked up an orange one. And I got Twiki. Beady, the old Mego Buck Rogers action figure from 1979 or 1980, whichever it was. I got the Twiki action figure. I'm just going to mix him in with my droids. And this is one of the things I went there looking to get, that I was hunting for, was a decent copy of the Planet of the Apes Mego Gorilla Soldier action figure. He's missing a couple things. There were these like sleeve glove things that came on it, but I don't like the look of those on there. There were samples that they had with that, but I didn't like them. I like it just better like this. And but the one thing I was looking for is make sure he had the weapon. Back then, Mego, when they were making these toys, they were just reusing a lot of parts and pieces, and even though the weapons were very different on the movie, they just like already had these M16s from another toy line, and they just repurposed them for the Gorilla Soldiers, which is fine. And this one just caught my eye. I've watched a few episodes of Robotech. I just thought this was a good looking figure. Good packaging and all that, so I got it. And I picked this up at Route 68 the other day, this Catwoman. This one, the packaging is all separated and stuff. I'm going to be taking it out of the packaging and just mixing it in with my loose action figures. And I could not resist this case. I mean, look at that crazy imagery. These came out in like 78 and 79. The company that was making these they were totally ripping off Star Wars. Matter of fact, this particular image they got sued for, and they had to change up their packaging images. So these come in different, with different images. This is the early one. And you can tell it's a total knockoff of Star Wars. I mean, you can see screwed up. There's a robot tranny version of Darth Vader. There's some kind of weird ass Chewbacca. There's a C-3PO. you know, a little R2D2 looking thing. Oh man, that might be Ben Kenobi in the space helmet in the foreground. I mean, I don't know, but yeah, these are so crazy. I had to get it. It was only $5 too. And this thing, all right, it looks like a vintage Star Wars toy, but it's not. This is from a modern company called Pally Toy, who makes play sets for vintage Star Wars action figures that should have been made back in the day, but were not. He's out of the UK because the UK toy licensee for the Star Wars toys was Palitoy, so this guy's Pally Toy. And yeah, this Death Star detention block playset, yeah, it's pretty cool. And it was a little pricey, but these are normally like $120, you know, to buy one new from the UK, and and then you got to have it shipped. Now, this one I found here, and so it was still like a little bit less than 100, but didn't have to deal with the shipping and all that jazz. So there we go. It's gonna look cool when for a toy display. I mean, the box looks great anyway, and you see how they captured the old Kenner style box art and stuff. Like I believe the guy who makes these, that's his kid on the box art. Playing with the toys. So very well done. Very well done. And I couldn't pass this up, man. I have one of these loose, but the price was good, and man, I'd never seen one in a complete package like that, even if it was beat up. And yes, I got this TIE Fighter. Now, I already had a TIE Fighter, but it was a different version it was an older version, but it wasn't as old as this. And this one actually works, as you're about to see. There it is, buzzing and lighting up. All right. So my other main mission, besides the Planet of the Apes soldier, was to get the Godzilla, and I got this guy as reasonable as I was going to get it, almost 200. But that's the way these things go these days. The launching fist thing works great. It launches with authority. So yeah, we picked up Godzilla. Now there's a tail piece that's missing, but I found that on eBay easily, and I'll just when that shows up in the mail, I'll attach it, and then he'll be complete. And my cat Ava seems to approve of Godzilla. She is not fazed by him whatsoever. And that is it on the toy show wrap up. We will get back to our cartoon programming.